Hello, welcome to the Supernatural podcast. I'm Jill and I'm here with my podcasting partner Daniel.
Hello, Jill, and hello, listeners.
Hello, listeners, and we are back for a special episode. We're actually going to be talking about why we should be lifting heavy things. But first of all, let's talk about Dan and the birth of his new daughter.
Yeah,
Yay!
I'm traumatized but very happy. Is the way I'll put it.
That's kind of like how most new parents are traumatized but happy because it's like we were just talking off air before about having babies and stuff and how it dramatically changes your life, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's a few phrases that come to mind. Shell shocked, very steep learning curve,
Hmm.
all consuming. Those are the things, but amazing as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
we were just talking off air that it's your life literally changes within just a blink of an eye, doesn't it? The whole
Yeah.
birth process. You can prepare all you want, but especially as a bloke. Like obviously as a woman, you're pregnant and you can kind of prepare for it. You know something's happening, your body changes. But as a bloke, nothing really changes until the birth. So it's like there's life on the morning, and the baby comes, and there's a totally different life on the afternoon, and it's there's an adjustment period almost down there, and I'm kind of getting to grips with it now. But yeah, it's amazing.
So you've got a little baby daughter called
Yeah,
Sophia.
yes,
I love that name.
Sophia. Yeah, she was £10 too for anyone who's
£10
interested
too.
in.
Gosh,
She was massive.
she's a what there?
Yeah, yeah. So when they lifted her out, like I was just absolutely astonished at how big she was, and she got a full head of black hair, and not one hair has fell out. So she's a little bit unique, but yeah, she's lovely, and
Oh.
she's been a pretty good baby, I must admit. So it's regardless, it's difficult, but she's been okay.
I know we were just saying like when you go from like being a single person, man or woman, or you're still a single person, man or woman, you don't have any idea what it's like to be a parent. How hard it is.
Nothing can teach you for what it's like. It's
No, no.
it's really full on, and and you realize how adaptable you are and how and you almost feel as though your prior life you were like, Jesus Christ, I was so selfish. Why? Like I'm looking after this thing and all my time is dedicated towards raising this child. Like I was so selfish before. Why didn't I use my time more wisely? Because you would kill for some free time then, wouldn't you?
Oh gosh, yeah. Especially the early days. I mean, it does get a little bit better when they get a little bit more independence, but
Mm,
yeah, it is. It's just like you just want to go out and you can't just go for a walk because it takes like 3 hours to get, and
yeah.
then you just get them all. I remember getting spending ages getting all ready, and then they vomit all over themselves or something, or all over you, and you're like,
Yeah, yeah, Phil the nappy, yeah.
oh.
Helen was at the getting at the hairdressers the other day, and Sophia did an explosive poo, so it went up the nappy, through her clothes.
Oh.
So Helen ended up in the bloody toilet for half of the hairdressing visit, changing her clothes, getting it cleaned up, and it's like
Oh.
it's just par for the course, but it's just so like it's just difficult, isn't it?
It's just a joy, isn't it? But I mean, they're so cute and lovely. Like you wouldn't swap them for the
Yeah,
world. But oh my god, it's hard work. It doesn't
yeah,
switch
yeah.
off. That's the thing. They haven't got an off switch, which would be quite a good idea, I think.
Yeah, but it's strange because when they first born, it's like it's very amazing, and you think, wow, I've got this little thing, and then there's the wave of like chaos because you're getting used to being a parent. But now I'm like 9 weeks in, and now like the bond is starting to really develop, and she's starting to smile, and like we know her personality, and now it's becoming like really amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there'll be another wave of like terror to come when she starts teething.
Oh
So
yeah, you've got that
it's
to look forward to.
yeah,
Yeah. It's just
but
like
like
when you've got babies, you just think you've got into a routine, a nice routine, and then it changes. And
mm,
then you're like, oh, why have they dropped that feed? Why are they not sleeping at that time? And then you're like, I like that bit of time. And then you get used to the next bit, and then teething happens, and it's normally when you just all go back to work, and then like you're up
mm,
all night, and then it's like, it's just constantly changing. But it's wonderful, but yeah, it's also hard work.
yeah, and I've got like a massive appreciation for not just all parents out there, but especially the women to go through the pregnancy and then like the burden. Like I do as much as I can, but Helen still does 10 times more than me because like it's the most amazing thing out of it all is you see how maternal the mother is and how much a baby knows the mother like instantly. So when Sophia was born, they got her out and she was crying, which is a good sign. She was crying and screaming straight away. So the midwife got her, cleaned her up, weighed it all, did all that thing for like 5, 10 minutes maybe. And Sophia was screaming all the time. So then when they wrapped her up and everything, they brought her over and just put her on Helen's chest, and she just stopped straight away. And it's like
Oh,
you hear about these things, but then when you see it like in front of your eyes, and you're like, Sophia just knew who Helen was, like a
yeah, it's a
heartbeat, a
voice and
smell, voice,
everything.
everything, and it
Yeah.
was like to see it right in front of me was like, this is like wow. It's like it was amazing. There is like a lot of amazing moments, isn't there?
Yeah.
So like I really like do have appreciation for like that mother child bond now. Like it's strong and real, isn't it?
Oh gosh, yeah. Like sometimes if the boys like over the years have been ill, Stephen will just go to me, "What do you think?" Like,
Yeah,
what's your
yeah, I know.
instinct telling you? Like, do we need to take them to the doctor? Like, I'll always know when something's really bad or something's just like passing. And like Stephen even now he just still goes, "What's your instinct?" And I'm like, "Right, yeah, we need to take him to the doctor."
Mm.
or this is okay. We'll just give it a day or two and it'll be fine.
Yeah,
So,
I can totally appreciate that now because
yeah.
like for all that you might not think you're paying attention to them, you're always alert and you learn the behavior and things like that. But for the mother, it's like this superpower, which is just like you
You're
just seem
totally
to
in
know.
tune with them.
It's
Totally.
it's it's amazing. Yeah, the man can come in and do like, yeah, we help out, but it's like we don't have the superpower. We kind of we kind of winging it a little bit as
Yeah, well,
best we
that's
can.
what the feminine, that's divine feminine,
It
isn't
is. It's
it?
the yin and the yang, yeah, definitely. And like to see that like at its most powerful now, like I really, really appreciate it. It's fascinating as well. Um,
But you also appreciate
but
what you
yeah.
put your own mother through. Like when you've been stayed out all night, not
Oh,
telling her where you are, that literally would drive a mother mad.
yeah, the worry, like no, everyone said like you don't know what worry and stress is until you have a child, and now I can appreciate it. And she's only 9 weeks. She's never been out of our sight. So yeah,
Yeah.
massive respect to anyone who has kids and goes through it because it's real.
It is real. It's totally real. And it's like, yeah, it's one of those things, the burdens that you have to like carry
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
mother. And then also it's like the joy that you carry with you as well. But it's like a double-edged sword, isn't it? Of joy and worry.
Yeah, it's like it's a heavy mix of like drastic emotions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because like you can be like absolutely exhausted, tired, stressed, and then baby will do something and like your heart just melts and you're like and it's like wow, you know what I mean? It's
I made
crazy. But
this.
yeah.
Did you keep going through like I made this human.
Helen keeps saying that. Yeah, I don't say that, but Helen often does. She just looks at it, goes like, for better or worse, she really looks like me. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but she's a blend of me and you. Like how amazing is it? And like yeah,
Well,
I don't
well,
know. It's a miracle.
I read a lot of Desmond Morris human ape books when I was pregnant, and I remember Desmond, Des. I was on first name terms with him. He said that a baby is born when the baby's first born. They are designed to look like their father, so the father evolutionary knows it's his
Those,
baby.
yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah,
so yeah, and then they start at about like around about 12, 9 to 12 weeks. They start looking like the mother as well, like
yeah,
blending together.
yeah. And there's obviously you learn all the kind of miracle facts. Like Sophia was born and she already has all of the eggs in her body for when she's ready to
Mm.
become pregnant when she's older. I thought that would just develop over time, but no, she's born with everything she already needs.
Yeah, and they
Yeah, it's just like, oh my God. Like, and then like you say, when they bring her out and all of a sudden she's being in the womb, and then 1 second later she's out in the real world. And her lungs start working, her voice box starts working, the digestive system works different. It's like she opened her eyes like a little bit. It's like how any baby ever survives. But then you look at nature and like mammals are born and then they up and running 2 minutes
yeah,
later. It's like it is an absolute miracle, and it's astonishing. Like I wasn't really that massively emotional when she was born. It was more just amazement. It was just totally amazing to see. So Yeah, but it's been 9 weeks now, and we're getting back to some sort of normality-ish. I've started going back to the gym again because that was just like, forget about that. Like,
Yeah,
and
and
it
for
was
you,
Christmas
that's your
time.
like kind of lifeblood, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and it was Christmas time as well, which is, you know, even
Yeah.
the most hardcore can like slack off a little bit. So now I'm back, and it kind of leads into what we were going to talk about, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Oh well, I'm glad all is well and baby's safe and sound in the world and everything's going well. It's just yeah, it is a bit of a shock that first few weeks, but it will get
Yeah,
easier-ish.
yeah. I've got some color back on my face now.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Well, I'm glad
Yeah.
everybody's fitting well. That's the main thing.
So you'll have to you might as well do this on air. Catch me up on what you've been doing the past 9, 10 weeks because it's just gone over
Oh,
so quick for me.
yeah. So what have I been doing? I released my book, The Embodied Core, that I'm selling well.
Yeah,
So
you just released that on the
yes, on the
at the
last
start of the last
one.
podcast. Yeah.
So that's so that was is out and going well. What over Christmas had a really quiet Christmas actually. Stephen was really ill. He's had this hideous chest infection that's been going around, and
Oh, yeah.
he was just so ill with it. Um, so we didn't really go anywhere or do anything because he couldn't get off the sofa. It was like one of those things where you go and do something for like 5 minutes, then have to lie down for 3 hours because you.
Yeah.
So he was really ill, bless him. Yeah, so just quiet New Year, quiet Christmas, and then what am I doing now? I'm just getting ready to launch my new membership program called the Wisdom Well, which is going to be all about like it's kind of bringing the physical and the mystical together. So we're doing like we will be doing like strength training programs, which we're going to talk about today, but
Mm.
also in like physical stuff like mobility training and stretching and all of that kind of stuff, but also the kind of mystical things like goddess kind of channeling, and we'll have a theme every season.
Yeah, cool.
So we'll be doing breath work and yoga nidra and all sorts of
It's
things. So it's going to be
a,
quite
it's a very
cool.
it's a very good amalgamation of all your interests and specialities, isn't it?
It's all coming together, Dan. I feel like
Yeah, yeah.
this is the year it's all going to come together.
Well, all those things people don't think like you might talk about strength training, but then you might talk about I don't know, crystals or healing.
Yeah.
Like we've spoke about in loads of our podcasts before, the body is a cybernetic system. All the systems play into another. So you might think strength training and looking after your body has nothing to do with, intuitive healing, but they really do. Because if your body is
Yeah.
broken and you're not strong, how is your if your spirit is living inside of a broken body, how the hell are you meant to channel messages effectively? Do you know what I mean?
Oh
That's
my
why.
God, Dan, you have just put into words what I've been saying for the last year. Like you see all these people who are like energy masters and all of this kind of thing, but their bodies look like shit.
They look like a
Like,
toad. Yeah.
yeah, like how can you give energy to people, like, or good energy to people when you're not looking after your own physical body? Do you know what I mean? And I know like people, the gurus on a hill, older people and stuff, that's fine. But it's if you're able to like be fit and healthy and physically fit, then you can hold more of that energetic stuff. And the more physically fit I get, and the more grounded I get, and in my body and in my bones, then the more of that energetic stuff seems to get louder, bigger. And I don't believe that. I know there's people out there who are genuine people, but I also see a lot of people who are going, I'm an energy healer, all of this stuff. But
Hmm.
they look physically
Yeah,
wrecked.
and they might be a really good energy healer, but they'd probably be a, so much better of an energy healer if they just fix their own health a little bit.
Yeah.
Like the best analogy we learned from Paul Check, who totally embodies what we say, and hence why we probably gravitated towards him, because he is in his 60s and he's like super fit, strong, healthy, but he's probably one of the most highly spiritually developed people on the planet. So it just proves that they both go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But he gave the analogy of an antenna because we all just receive messages from somewhere, the universe, God, consciousness, where we get these messages from, I don't know. But if you just imagine a television aerial or an antenna and that's crooked, it's not going to receive very clear messages, is it? And if your
Exactly.
if your body is crooked and it's unhealthy, then you're not going to receive the clearer messages. Are you? That's a really simple analogy I always go back to.
Exactly, and your spine is your antenna as well. I remember
Yeah.
Warren always saying that your spine is your antenna to the universe, and you're right. If your spine can't flow and move, and the more that you can get your spinal floor, pelvic floor, all of that kind of stuff, the more that you're going to get those kind of sacred energies coming through.
Yeah. So going back to things like strength training, or any type of physical activity which is going to improve your well-being, then that's your ability to do any sort of other kind of mystical healing or spirituality is going to be better. And things like diet, you might think, well, what's diet got to do with it? But if you're eating junk food, which is poisoned, you're going to have poisoned thoughts because your brain is just made of what you eat. You are what you eat. So junk food creates junk thoughts. And how are you going to deliver messages if your body is literally made of something that was toxic? So it's actually really simple when you think about it, but we don't get taught to think about these things, do we?
Yeah, toxic in, toxic out.
Yeah.
So, would you want to be energetically healed from someone who eats crap and can't like move properly?
Yeah. And like we said, there are kind of spiritual people out there who don't look um who don't particularly portray healthiness, but they're almost doing it like some people I believe have a gift, like a really strong power to do these things, but they almost do it in spite of how they feel. When
Yeah.
they'd be so much better if they looked after their health. And I listen to a guy who typically to look at, he's not a stereotypically kind of spiritually looking guy, but he shares some really good wisdom. And he always says, like you literally alluded to just previously, reads like spiritual books and these like philosophy books, but he says he turns the book round and looks at the author and says, "Do I want to look like him? No." Like everything he says is brilliant, but why isn't he embodying that?
Yeah.
Because you might, you might be a philosopher, you might have these really profound thoughts, but why aren't you looking after your own health? If for me to take what you're saying seriously, you should be looking after your own health and taking after your own advice.
Exactly. Embodiment first. And the
Mm,
more that that's what my book is called, the embodied. It's like literally the more you embody your health and yourself and the other stuff happens naturally rather than trying to force it. And like you can't explain it until you feel it. And like, because
yeah,
it's like you really really need to work on your strength. And the stronger
yeah,
your container, the more you can hold. And it's like it makes sense really to us. You wouldn't put hot water into a plastic container, would you? Because it would just melt. So you've got to make your container strong enough to hold all of that energy. And the stronger your container, the more you can hold.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of the whole live it, then teach it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hence why there's like a lot of fake gurus out there because they can watch a couple of videos, pretend that they know it all, but to be really strengthened, you have to go through life and like steel sharpens steel, as they say. Like life kind of has to batter you a little bit to really learn the deep lessons.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of fake gurus out there, isn't there, who can do a 2-day course online and pretend to be a life coach, which is like laughable,
Oh
really.
God, yeah. Well, you would hope that kind of economics would um, push those ones out.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
people
exactly.
would, they wouldn't get very good reviews and stuff. But
Mm,
yeah, it's worrying, isn't it? Like it's the same with Pilates. You can do like an online 2-day course and say you're a Pilates teacher, and it's like, hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
But you were saying as part of your new is it like an online program?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
all
So
online.
strength training is going to be part of that as well.
Oh, absolutely. I believe in the power of the strength training.
So for you, what is the main benefits of strength training then?
Well, I would say it starts with your bones. Let's
Mm,
go deep into the bones. Like women in the UK and well globally, after the age of 50, the statistic is 3 in 1 globally. I think it's actually higher in the UK, 2 in 1. Women will experience osteoporotic fractures, and that's because their bones weaken because we lose estrogen through menopause. But equally, if you're not lifting weights, like lifting weights makes your bones strong.
yeah, it's a
So
stimulus which demands a response from the body, doesn't it?
yeah. So let's start with the bones. The stronger your muscles are, they pull on the bones, which makes the bone stronger. So the density of the bone increases. So there's no need to lose your bone density. And if we're talking about the osteoporosis and the antenna of the spine, the thing of osteoporosis is it weakens your spine, the bones, and so that you start to get hunched over posture. And it's very dangerous, actually. It's like your foundations are crumbling. So we don't often think about looking after our bones, but health starts there, really.
Yeah, and attached to the bones is ligaments and tendons. And like the analogy we used previous, if your body was going to be an antenna or a mast, there's always holding that mast up. There's always guide ropes or guide wires. And if you think of those guide wires as your ligaments and tendons, and if you strengthen those through weightlifting and things like that, it's going to hold that mast up better. Like the analogy is, your posture is going to be a lot better. So yeah, and it works. Like I said, all it is just a stimulus, and your body has to respond to improve, because your body likes to make life as easy as possible at all times. So if you put it under a little bit of stress, then it thinks, oh, Jill's lifting bloody kettlebells 3 times a week. This is hard. What I'll do is I'll build some more muscle. I'll make my ligaments and my tendons and my bones stronger because I want this to be easier. And
Yeah.
that's literally all that happens. So then over time, you have to lift a heavier kettlebell every time because your body has adapted to the stress. That's called progressive overload, to give it a fancy term in weight training. So that's why all of a sudden you can lift 4 kilos and 6 weeks later you can lift 6 kilos because your body has adapted. So you have to kind of keep it guessing.
Absolutely. And like when you first started teaching us kettlebells, Dan, we were all on 4 kilos. Now we're on 12. Well, I am.
Bloody hell. Yeah.
So now I think of it as I can lift 3 times the amount that I started off with like 4 years ago. So like, and they say like as you age, you can't adapt. Like it's not as easy to adapt. It bloody well is. Your body will adapt. Like
Yeah.
just keep going at it. That's the thing. People that start these things and then go, oh, stopped. It was too hard. It's like, yeah, that's the point. It's meant to be hard.
Yeah, exactly. There's a really, whether this is true or not, it probably isn't. It's probably just a myth. But the whole progressive overload, like you say, you go from 4 kilos to 5 to 6, all the way up to 12, and you kind of don't really see it coming if you do it over a long enough period. It just happens, doesn't it? And the whole theory behind that is there was one of the stories in ancient Greece. There was a wrestler called Milo, and he to build up his strength, there was a calf born, like a baby calf, and he used to walk with the calf on his shoulders every day to strengthen his legs. And he just did it every day until the calf was then a bull, like 2 years later. But the progressive overload, the calf was getting only slightly heavier every day, so he didn't notice. But after 2 years, he was walking around with a bull on his shoulders every day. Like I say, probably not true, but the principle therein is the same. Yeah.
Progressive overload is true. Yeah. So like, how long ago we started kettlebells? Just before lockdown. So what was that? 4 years ago. So in what 4 years, I've increased the weight that I can lift by 3 times. So
yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Also, I'm 3 or 4 years older.
Yeah,
so
true.
I'm in my 50s now, Dan.
You've seen a few winters.
I've seen a few winters. I've been around that sun a couple of times, but it's like, yes, you can adapt. It doesn't matter what age you are. You using progressive overload, and if you use it wisely, you can absolutely increase your bone density and muscle strength and muscle mass. So it's always start with the bones.
Yeah, and moving on from bones to muscle mass, like you were saying, there's a lot of people think, oh, muscle mass. Mass is probably not a nice word. If people think, oh, I'll get bulky if I have muscle mass. It's not. It's just lean muscle, and you just have muscle on your bones. Not many people can put on muscle mass, like huge amounts. It's not really realistic. But having muscle is a good thing. Like, for one, aesthetically, it's pleasing. People, if you look at someone and they look healthy, they've probably got really nice lean muscle. You know, they've got a relatively healthy body fat percentage, and they've got muscle where it should be. Doesn't mean you walk around like a bodybuilder, but doing weight training makes you look aesthetically better, which makes you feel better, which makes you normally act better. So it's kind of good for everyone if you look and feel better as well. Yeah, exactly. There might be a little bit of vanity comes into it as well, but who isn't vain? Everyone wants to look and feel the best. It often gets a bad rap for like weightlifting and things like that, but for anyone who's ever experienced it, in the end, you do it for the feeling and not just the aesthetics. The feeling
Exactly.
is what you go for.
It makes you feel good. Well, maybe not while you're doing it, but once you've finished, it like you feel so good because you've done it and lifted some weights, and it, like your body's meant to do it.
Yeah, and kind of metaphorically speaking, it's overcoming resistance, and you always feel good when there's an obstacle and you overcome, and that's exactly what weightlifting is. There is a
Yeah,
heavy thing which you need, which is challenging, and to overcome it feels good. So, like on a
exactly.
deep psychological level, you actually feel proud of yourself.
And that feeling that you've just described that is like builds confidence, builds self-esteem. So it like it's those kind of emotional, mental qualities as well
Yeah,
that come from lifting weights. It like you feel like much more confident, like you take up more space in the world, but you kind of
yeah.
like
I
yes,
know that. Yeah, it makes you feel powerful, doesn't it?
yeah, powerful, yeah,
And it's strangely addictive, especially when, like you were saying, you see the increases as well. Because we're
mm,
all logical to some degree. We like to see progress. You will feel it, you will see it on your body, but when you know that you can go from 4 kilos up to 12 and you look back over that, you think, I'm actually really proud of that. I'm impressed. Like, and
yeah,
it makes you want to keep going. And they're just numbers, but in our logical, is it left side or right side is logical? You like seeing those numbers increase, don't you?
yes. Left for logical, I think. So I know I don't think I'll get any higher than 12 kilos because there's only so much you can push away, like
Yeah,
push
oh
it
yeah,
out and
yeah.
push up. Um, but it's like it is such an achievement, and like a lot of my ladies who started like when we opened up back up after lockdown, and I remember one of them coming in with a 4 kilo weight going, are you sure this is the right weight, it seems really heavy. Now
Hmm.
she's on an 8 an 8 or a 10.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So it's like it's unreal the change that you can see in your clients as well. Like it's amazing really, and like new people coming in, and we always say like start on a 4, and now when I lift a 4 it feels really light.
Yeah. It's just a doorstop.
Yeah. So it's you can progress really quickly, and oh god, I love it. It's just like yeah, and it keeps
And
you looking young as well. I think it like you look younger if you've got good posture, and that's
oh,
what
absolutely, yeah.
muscle building actually does because it's holding up your structure, your architecture, isn't it?
Yeah. And it can often be a good trigger for other healthy habits as well. So
Yeah.
if you do a strength class, do kettlebells, it could be a good trigger to then eat healthy, to maybe to not have any alcohol that night. So and this is with any exercise program as well.
Yeah.
It can be a very good trigger for other healthy habits. Hence why a lot of people, not me, but enjoy exercising really early in the morning because they think for them it sets them up for the rest of the day. Other
Hmm.
people have the opposite where they think I'm going to do a Pilates class this evening. I'm going to be really good all the way up until then. Um, do you know what I mean? If they
Yeah.
have that trigger in place, people are kind of set up differently. For me, I feel the strongest probably around the middle of the day when I've had breakfast. Um, but everyone's different, but it can be used as a really good trigger to stay on track. That's why it's really important to kind of to plan your training sessions. Think, all right, I'm doing Pilates Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. At least you know you're going to be looking forward to something. If you just do it spontaneously, life comes along. It's a cold, dark night. You don't do it. That's why classes and programs. That's one of the big advantages. You have a time and a place to do something, and it keeps all the other healthy habits in place.
Absolutely. I know when I start like properly lifting weights, it makes me want to eat more protein as well. So I think
Yeah,
naturally you tune into better ways of eating. It makes you sleep better. Of course, when you start lifting weights because you're building your lean muscle, you that's metabolically active. So like fat just sits on your body and just is there causing problems. Whereas when you've got lean muscle mass, it requires calories. So you can end up eating the same food, like same calories in a day, but you're actually burning more naturally because your muscles are taking the calories in. So it boosts your metabolism. So you hear a lot of people going, "Oh, my metabolism's stuck," or "My metabolism slowed down." Well, the way to increase your metabolism is to lift some weights.
yeah, exactly. And it's a little bit of a it can trip you up a little bit if you do like a heavy kettlebell session or something. You can feel very hungry, so you
Yeah.
have to have a little bit of discipline to eat the right things as well, because it's pointless if you go and do kettlebells then have a Domino's pizza. Like, because but you will probably sometimes feel as hungry as like you could eat a full Domino's pizza, because it requires a lot of energy to lift heavy weights, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
yeah, they both go hand in hand. You have to have that. You still have to maintain discipline. You can't just. I see it every day in the gym. People who come and do the workout 6 days a week, and the body never changes because the diet's probably not in check and the sleep's probably not in check. So training's one aspect of it, but it's really good.
Yeah. And like you say, you can't out, what is it, out train an unhealthy diet.
Yeah, and it's like it's so evident. Honestly, all it takes is maybe a month to really tighten up on your diet, and you'd be like, "Why didn't I do this before?" It's just so drastic.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
training's almost the easy part. It feels horrible when you're doing it sometimes, but it's only an hour, 3 times a week, or whatever. But your diet is like you're awake for 16 hours, and bad food is always calling you. So that's that for any exercise program or health program. Diet is normally the big one because it's in your face. It's so accessible. You might have a lifetime of bad habits.
Mm.
Probably a different episode. We should go into this like for hours, couldn't we? And we have in other podcasts.
Yeah.
So we'll stick to strength training. But yeah, when you do your strength training, like you said, protein is really important because you literally, when you do strength training, your muscles are literally getting broken down. You get those micro tears in the muscle. So you're actually causing very slight damage, hence why you can be sore the next day. And like we're saying, it's just a stimulus, and your body then has to repair that. It has to respond. If you put little tiny tears in your muscle off strength training, the next few days, your body thinks, if we're going to be doing that again, I want some more muscle because I want it to be easier. So it
Mm.
repairs the muscle very slightly stronger and bigger, which you need protein to do. Hence why you're going to need a heavier kettlebell over time because your body has more muscle. It's a very simple response, really. Um, but you have to do it correctly.
Absolutely. And one of the other reasons why you should be strength training is it makes your life so much easier. Um, so much easier to carry your shopping, to get in and out of a car, to get up and down stairs, to it just your life just becomes much easier. Like we see people. I mean, you've only got to look around outside at the moment and see how many unhealthy people are huffing and puffing, and
Oh yeah.
it's honestly, it's scary when you look. I have never seen such an unhealthy nation of people at that is around at the moment. I don't know what the kind of people you're getting into the gym, Dan, but I've had so many queries from people wanting to start classes and stuff, and it's amazing that they want to start doing stuff. But I've had people who can't even get upstairs, and like my studio's upstairs, and it's I think people are wanting to come to Pilates because it's like a gateway. It is a gateway to fitness, but there's also a certain level of fitness that you have to be able to come to a class. Like you have to be able to get up the stairs. You've got to be able to get
Yeah.
on and off the floor. It's a mat-based class and stuff like that. So I've never had this before in like my 25 years of teaching fitness. Like how unhealthy people are, and I do think it's a knock-on from lockdown, actually.
Yeah, probably. And the standard is pretty low. And it's probably because everything is so easy. You don't even have to get off your couch to order a meal. You just order it and it gets delivered to your door.
Yeah.
And if you live with a partner, you don't even have to get off the couch. They can go and answer the door for you and bring it right to your lap and have 3,000 calories of fish and chips and ice cream, and you haven't left the couch. Whereas
Yeah.
our DNA still dictates that we are hunter gatherers and we should be going out and chasing a deer for 3 miles and dragging the carcass back to the campfire. So, like, you burn more the calories than you would even consume.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I'm just reading this book at the moment about this lady who is trying to live for a year just on foraged foods,
Oh well.
and so she's a herbalist. She knows kind of like the foods that and when they're like so basically. At the moment, every day she's out like digging tubers up out of the ground and collecting
Mm.
mushrooms, and she spends like about 2 hours. It's making me not want to be a forager, to be fair.
Oh no way.
'Cause I don't think you could work and live this life. But if you think
Uh,
hunter-gatherer people, they didn't. That was their job to stay alive, right?
yeah.
So we've just invented economics and money and stuff. And so every day for about 2 or 3 hours, she's out walking the hills, digging up tubers. She brings them home. She spends 2 hours cleaning them down and like roasting them or something. And she's trying to use traditional methods as well. It's just like, oh
Graft.
my God. Yeah, it is hard work. And then when she works out like how many calories it is, she's like lost so much weight because like the calories that you get off a tuber and some leaves and stuff are hardly the same as like a Domino pizza and a tub of
Yeah.
ice cream. And
Yeah.
she's spent like 3 hours trying to get them out in the air and digging and stuff. And it's like, you could see why they were quite slender in those days.
Yeah, and you would see why, not bashing any vegans, you could see why killing a woolly mammoth would be like a high prize
Oh
because
God,
the
yeah.
the amount of calories in a mammoth or a big mammal would sustain the whole tribe, not just a couple of, blueberries. You
Yeah.
would, we were killers. We still are. We don't really do it ethically these days, but that's why in our DNA we would kill animals to eat them because over a winter a woolly mammoth would probably make most members of the tribe survive.
Yeah.
Whereas digging up a few roots and vegetables, the whole tribe would really struggle to live on that. So,
We're designed to live on, and she said that one of the things that she's missed, she has eaten fish, but she's like, only when it's in season kind of thing, and like the
okay.
fella's catching it for her, and there's like she's got like a gamekeeper fella who's giving her venison, but she's only trying to eat it when it's in season. Like that, she's missing like fat, and we are designed to eat fat. It's like you need fat in your diet, and like all these like bloody fat-free things. I mean, I could rant on for hours about fat-free diets.
It's still like we'll give people a really quick answer here. Don't associate fat on a food label with body fat. Two different things.
Yeah.
And they just have the same word, and it's just people get so confused. Body fat and dietary fat are different things. Your body needs fat for hormones and many other things. So yeah, don't get bogged down with fat and body fat. Different things.
Just eat fat. Eat fat. In fact, I went looking for lard the other day in the village, right? Like good lard to do Yorkshire puddings in. You need lard. Don't sell it. Don't sell it anywhere.
Couldn't find it.
Stop selling it in the co-op. I was like, why have you stopped selling lard? I was having a right rant to the lady.
But you can buy margarine, which has about 9,000 ingredients.
Shit. Polyunsaturated shit. Yeah. But I can't buy good old lard.
Different episode, isn't it?
Yeah, I did find some eventually in like a little store that's we've got one of those stores that sells everything.
Yeah, we have one in Coxon as well. You can get like a deck chair, some guttering, some lard, and some cigarettes.
That kind of store. So yeah, Christmas lights and lard. I think that's what I bought. But yeah, lard has the same pH as your skin as well. It's one of the best things to put on your skin.
Oh, right, I didn't know. Yeah, I've seen people use fat for sunscreen.
Yeah, makes it hard to catch as well.
Yeah, when you're shoplifting it, just cover yourself in lard. You can nick it from the shop.
Nobody can catch it. Anyway, we digress. So where were we up to, Dan? Remind us. We went off on a tangent there about unhealthy people.
That we do, yeah. But anyway, what? Just think of something else. Why is strength training good? Aesthetics, really good. Bone density, really good.
Muscle
good
mass.
Habits, really good. Helps you sleep better, also really good. Even just when you're doing it, mental health, yeah. Endorphins when you're actually doing it, really good.
Here's a good one. I've just thought of. Reduces the risk of injury.
Yeah, if done correctly, yes, definitely.
Because when you've got strong muscles, strong bones, if you fall over, you bounce. You don't crumble. And there's a horrendous statistic of women over 50 who fracture their hips have, it's like, what's the statistic? I need to look it up, but it's a really high, it's like 30% of them are dead within like a year. Like,
oh wow, yeah.
It's a horrible statistic. So if not looking, I can't emphasize the enoughness of looking after your bone health, because once they're gone, they're gone. And like I've had clients come to me with us like younger than me with osteoporosis, and one of them was like, I'm in my 50s, I'm like, it's so bad.
Yeah,
It just came out my mouth
you've
before.
got 40 years left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she was like, their posture is so bad. Um, and you can't reverse osteoporosis once you've got it.
You have to manage it.
You can reverse osteopenia, which is the precursor to osteoporosis. You can get yourself out of that. But once you've got osteoporosis, your bones become like an aero bar, like aerated, and
Mm.
they're really crumbly. And so the ones that are particularly at risk are your neck ones, because the neck vertebrae are the thinnest ones. And your wrists. You see a lot of women who break their wrists, fall over.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because you put your hand out and then your wrists get really crumbly. It's just a horrendous disease, and like I don't actually think that people pay enough attention to it until it's too late.
Yeah, and like to go back to a point you said earlier, it kind of relates to what you say now. There is a really good carryover effect of doing strength training to everyday activities. For instance, like falling is quite extreme, but it will help you out. But you even said it when you did strength training with me. You want to be strong enough to walk two Labradors.
Yeah,
Like, but that might sound like a funny saying, but if you have two full-grown Labradors who want to chase a pigeon, you have to be very strong to look after that, to manage that stress on your muscles, on
mm,
your bones, on your body. And the perfect way to train for that is strength training. Do you know?
absolutely.
Kettlebells, and that's just one example. There's many other examples of just everyday life where it will have a very functional carryover. And even if things go wrong, it can save you. Like you saying last week, it was freezing cold, it was icy. If you fall over, if you have strong bones, it could be the chance of you breaking your hip, not breaking your hip, which could be, like you said, the chance of the difference between life or death, depending on where you're at. It's
Yeah,
can be that drastic.
it can be, and like you say, it's being able to do the things that you love to do. Like I love
Mm,
having dogs. I love having Labradors, and you know how strong a Labrador is now,
mm.
and like having two of them. Yeah, you're right.
Oh
Like
God, yeah.
if I have them on the lead and they see a cat, I'm literally like have to squat to hold
They
on
are
to them.
so strong, so strong. Yeah.
And I think like you see people out with dogs that they can't hold on to. I
No,
often
no.
think like if that dog wants to go for mine, you're not strong enough to hold on to that dog because dogs are
Good luck.
strong.
Yeah, yeah. There was a guy I was walking Rufus the other day, and there was a guy with an Alsatian, and he'd just let it off the lead, and he was quite maybe 50 meters away, but he didn't see me. But I had Rufus on the lead, and the Alsatian just ran all the way up to us and stood and barked in our face
Oh
till
gosh.
till the owner got there. And luckily, like Rufus wasn't really intimidated. The Alsatian was massive compared to him, but he's so dumb. He didn't really know he was in danger. And I just stood my ground. But this older guy was 50 meters away, and it took him so long to get there that like
Yeah.
if Helen and the baby or Emily were there, it would have been very intimidating. So even just things like his general health, if he could have just got there quicker,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It would have, it could have, um, like helped us out. But yeah, walking dogs, the statistics for people falling over and walking dogs must be huge.
Or getting their shoulders pulled,
The
or
shoulders pull,
like
yeah,
you've got to be strong to walk a big dog.
mm,
Even a little dog, if you're not expecting it and they go shooting off somewhere.
yeah. Even tripping over your dog in the bloody house, everyone's done it. Like
Hmm.
these, especially when food's involved, you turn around and you're at the fridge,
And
and
we've got black dogs.
there's a Labrador trying to get into your soul so it can get in, it can get a piece of cheese. And it's like you trip over them, and like you say, if you fall, like, it's just so much better for you. So yeah,
Yeah, it's
things like
like
strength training, there is a real life benefit, not just aesthetics, not just feeling good, like practicality. There's a definite benefit.
absolutely. Even just being able to get up a hill. Like, how many people do you
Yeah.
see huffing and puffing getting upstairs? And
Mm. Do you know what the one I really hate? It's difficult to really hate on it, but because you don't know the circumstances, people who look generally healthy and not young, but maybe middle aged, who are in mobility scooters, just
yeah,
because they look overweight. And like I say, it's hard to hate on it because they could have
yeah.
complications that you don't know, but some of them just look overweight, and you think, how has it got to that?
Mm.
It's we
I
used
know
to go,
people in our
we used to
village who are
chase
my
woolly
age.
mammoths. Yeah, we used to kill mammoth, saber-toothed tigers, and now you have to be on wheels, and you could have been healthy.
We We used to kill saber-toothed tigers. Now we're on wheels.
Now we're on wheels in a pretty short amount of time. It's that's where we go.
That's got to be the quote of the podcast today.
Yeah. Now our legs
don't work.
Don't even work. Yeah.
Well, oh gosh, there's a new thing I've just remembered, so I've got to get it out of my head because I'll forget. There was some research I was reading the other day as well that the stronger your quadriceps are, they're doing some really good research at the moment around quadricep strength and Alzheimer's and dementia.
Oh well, that's interesting.
And there's a really strong connection between having strong quads and a reduction in dementia.
Oh really? So get your goblet squats done with your kettlebell. Your
goblet squats.
Absolutely, yeah.
I did them yesterday, actually.
Very good exercise. So is there anything else on your list of
no, empowerment.
Benefits?
We've talked about empowerment, haven't we? And confidence.
Yeah. So needless to say, there's a lot of health benefits to doing strength training. And we've spoke about kettlebells a lot. There's loads of different types of strength training. Kettlebells are so versatile. You need one kettlebell. If you get stronger, you might need a few. In lockdown, they were about £1 million. They're not now. They're like a quarter of the price is actually really cheap. I always find that Argos have really good deals on kettlebells for some reason.
Yeah.
But they're very accessible. The amount of different exercises is brilliant. And because it's a free weight, it's you can do all these different moves. Like you say, the functional carryover to everyday life is good. You carry it like a suitcase. You lift it above your head. You can hold it at your chest and squat. It'd be brilliant. So
I'm a big, like me and you are big fans of the kettlebell. If you're going to buy a kettlebell, buy the iron ones. I would say
iron, yeah.
Not the plastic ones because they're so bulky. Get the iron ones. But that's about it. Yeah, start with a 4, work your way up.
Yep. Excellent. Yeah. Anything else you want to add in?
No. If you want to find out more about strength training or what types of training, then you can get my book, The Embodied Core. If you go onto my website, organicpilates.co.uk, you'll find the link there.
It must sound good being an established author now, does it?
It feels like I don't think I've appreciated it enough.
It passed you by.
It has, but I need to like embody it more now. That yes, published author, available on Amazon or on my website if you want a signed copy.
Yeah. New York Times bestseller. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, I nearly got to the Amazon bestseller. If I'd managed to release both of my online, like the ebook and the real book at the same time, I would have got to number 4. So kind of in the top 10 bestsellers. So
that's still pretty good, yeah. That's still pretty good.
So I was quite proud of that. But
excellent.
Yeah, it is. I need to embody that authorship more.
Absolutely, yeah. But things just. That's like me being a parent. It happens and you don't think about it.
Yes.
You just do it, don't you?
Yeah, like birthing a book was very similar to birthing. A little less painful in different ways, but physically painful, but mentally painful as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, and what about you, Dan? Where are you? Are you still at the gym?
Oh yeah, I'm just too busy being a parent at the moment. But the gym in January has been crazy. So I'm teaching kettlebells this Friday night, and there's full class waiting list, and it is a January buzz, but it's our job to try and make those people stay and try and convince them that it's a long-term game. It's a long-term game. That's one of the big things we should say about strength training as well. The initial part, you might be uncomfortable, you might be sore, you might not see any benefits. Stick with it. Honestly, stick with it. It's worth it in the long run. Even if, instead of trying to do the best program in the world and doing 6 days a week for a month, do 2 sessions a week for the rest of your life. That's where the benefits are.
Exactly. And at the moment, I'm doing I just invented my own little program that I do every day. It only takes us 6 minutes or 2 Tina Turner songs. I've been listening to Tina Turner while I do it. And I've been doing them between clients, just getting the kettlebells out and I've got a leg day, arm and chest, shoulder day.
Yeah, good idea, yeah.
So I just progress so every day, apart from Wednesday, it's my rest day, and then on a Saturday I teach kettlebells. So every day I'm doing something with the kettlebell, and actually really see the difference already and feel the difference. In fact, my triceps are hurting today.
And something I meant to mention before, if you, like you say, good point, start on a light kettlebell, start at a 4. if you find yourself, you get a bit frustrated with your progress and you feel as though you kind of quite managed to go to the 6 and you kind of want to hurry things up, you don't, it's weight is not the thing that you always move up in or you progress in. You might do more reps, you might do more rounds, you might shorten the time intervals in between you do them, you might do more training sessions a week. You're still using the same 4 kilo kettlebell, but you can alter the other variables to make it more challenging. And then eventually you will get to the 6.
And that's why it's important to have like a plan.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
very
why
good.
you need to see me and Dan, because we can both write you a plan.
Yeah, there's more than just the weight. The weight is an important aspect, but if you just, even if you can lift a 10 kilo kettlebell, if you went back to the 4 and said, right, do all the same exercises, do twice the amount with half the rest intervals, you would get a very good workout. Believe me. So
Indeed, yeah.
yeah,
And it's about we're going back into other things now. It's like
yeah,
the patterns, the muscles, the primal patterns. I always train in a primal pattern rather than a muscle group.
yeah.
And so there's loads of variables, loads of things that you need to think about, which actually as well, I'll just do a little plug for my kettlebell class on a Saturday morning at 9:30. I've already designed all those variables, and you can join online as well. So it's 9:30 on a Saturday morning, and you can join via Zoom as well. Just book on my website.
There you go. It's as if like Jill was trained in like this health and fitness thing. You would think,
It's weird, isn't it? You think I'd spent years training as a strength
yeah,
coach.
exactly.
Yeah, well, it's been great talking to you, Dan. I'm glad to see you all in
Yeah,
one piece after
I know,
the
yeah,
parenthood tidal wave. But
just
yeah,
flew over. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Nice to be back at it.
yeah, we'll get back online. Get all your people in the kettlebell class to listen to this podcast as well, and then
Yeah, yeah, good idea.
might make them stick a bit longer.
Cool. Yeah, not just the January fitness buzz.
Yeah, I wish everyone was as motivated for the whole of the year as they are in January.
I know.
Right then, guys. Okay, thanks for listening. Remember, if you enjoy what you're listening to, please share or like and comment and leave us some feedback. That's always good to hear.
Yeah, cool. And we'll see you again soon for another episode.
Again soon. Bye.